understand how the markets work, because we need to understand a pattern. We need to understand what the financial market is all about and what it has been doing. Maybe not so far, but within the course of the week, so that it gives us an idea of what we should expect from today. Okay, so in that case, I'll move over to sharing my screen, and then we can kickstart for today. So the next screen you'll be seeing on the floor would be my chat, and we would be having and we'll take it up from there. So we'll be looking at, of course, for today, the first thing we'll be looking at is the dollar. So let's start with the dollar and see what we can pull out from it going forward. So I'll be looking at the dollar index. Also, before I quickly go through that, let's go through our Forex Factory and see what Forex Factory has for us this morning. Also understanding what it has done in the course of the week. Okay, I'm sure I have people who are following, and I have people who understand what the Forex Factory means for traders like you and I. So quickly, I'm going to share my screen and we'll be seeing what we'll have for today. So I'm just going to run us through what happened in the course of the week. Of course, we all know that classes starts Mondays through Fridays, and today happens to be Friday. So we'll be looking at what transpired between Monday till date. And that means we'll be looking at the time period between 19th and, of course, today being 23rd. And from the Forex Factory, you can see that 19th, we barely even had any. Of course, in the US zone, it was a bank holiday. We didn't have any major news. In every other zone, the GBP, the CAD, the NZ, we didn't have any other high impact news. On Tuesday, practically the same thing happened. On Wednesday, however, we had the CPI from the GBP region come on board. That's at 7:02 a.m. we had GBP high impact news on that's their CPI. And of course, that same Wednesday, we had the US Fed Chair Powell testifying, which of course was around the US zone, which happened by 3 p.m. And Thursday, yesterday, we saw a couple of high impact news from the Swiss franc, that's CHF, from the Great Britain pound, that's GBP, from the US zone. Yes, from the US zone. And I think we saw that also in the reaction, the way our charts went yesterday. And of course, today we'll have a couple of, please, once you come in, do well to mute your mic so that you don't sound as a disturbance to others in the class. Thank you very much. So on Friday, we'll be having 8:50, today being Friday, at about 8:15, about 5 minutes from now, we'll be having a couple of high impact news coming out in the Eurozone. Of course, from you guys can see my Forex Factory, and you can see that the time is already ticking, 3:59, 3:58. It's already a countdown to when those news will be coming out. Of course, 8:30 we'll have the same in the Eurozone. 9 o'clock we'll have maybe a medium impact news, because we'll have the envelope as stated as brown. 9:30 we'll have from the Great Britain zone, which of course is their flash manufacturing PMI. 2:45 p.m. of course in the US zone we'll have the flash manufacturing PMI. So it's quite a lot of high impact news today. So for those who are not joining us for the first time, I think you say today is a good day for traders. And for those who are joining us for the first time, please do well to listen so that you can at least pick up one or two along the line. Thank you very much. So for those who are also asking, oh, what is this? I haven't seen this. My account manager has not told me what this is. This is called Forex Factory. It gives you a day-to-day, in fact, an update an updated day-to-day events that happens all over the world. So we can see NZD, the New Zealand dollar, the USD, the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, the Japanese yen, the Swiss franc, the Eurozone. So it gives us, information coming out in these places. And of course, when you see the ones with the yellow envelope, it means they are not high impact news. They are actually weak. Of course, you can see it, low impact expected. Once you see the ones in the white envelope, it's non-economic. It's nothing that pertains to economy. Once you see the ones with the brown envelope, it's called the medium impact news. So we are expecting medium impactation, like medium volatility. When you hear the word impact, what does it ring to you? And of course, when you see the ones with the red envelope, what does it show you? High impact expected. So it means you should be on guard. You should be ready to, serve what the market is bringing your way. So having said that, I'm going to go straight to my chat and we dig in. I don't want to say the word mentor, but someone who I look up to when it comes to the financial market used to say, once you're able to understand how the dollar has been operating, I think you're able to understand virtually what to do in the financial market. This is because the dollar stands to be world power. We all know, yes, there are threats here and there. People want to, of course, we even see the recent one between Russia, China, India, Brazil, and South Africa trying to make up their own currency, of course, which is planning to, like a coup, if I'm for lack of a better word, to the dollar. Of course, we also see the dollar facing a little bit of inflation, recession, and it seems as though, the dollar is losing itself. But boy, oh boy, when it comes to the financial market, when it comes to economy worldwide, we need to understand what happens in the dollar, in the euro, in the dollar zone, or with the dollar currency, or in the US as an economy. I think I was reading something on investing.com yesterday, and it stated that the US government actually loves a recessionary environment because that is where they savo in, that is where they bank in, that is where they gloat in. It's like their pride. You understand? So I got thinking about it, and who knows, maybe that's why they're not even flinching. Even when people are trying to say, oh, the US is suffering from recession, we still see them act as though nothing is happening. This is my dollar index chart, and it shows the strength of the dollar compared to every other instrument. In fact, the 5 major instruments. For those who are not new, and for those who have been attending the evening classes as well as the morning classes by 10, of course, you understand when I say the dollar measures against the 6 other green bags. That is the Japanese yen, the euro, the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, and the New Zealand dollar. So on that note, we're going to kickstart. I'm going to move my time frame. I'm currently on a 1 hour, then so I'm going to move to a daily time frame to understand how the market has actually been going. And we can see that the dollar has actually been on a downsliding. I'm sure we can all see my charts, and you can see how this has actually been playing out in the dollar zone. So we saw a couple of lower lows happening. Of course, there was a bit of a push up, but it got to this untested resistance, and it hasn't been able to get or break above it. After we got to this untested resistance, sometime March, this year March, we can see the downslide. It broke down to even this weak resistance. Of course, we had the verified support here to support it, and it has supported it over, I think, more than 3 times. We see this 1, we'll count this as 2, we'll count this as 3, and of course this one that happened recently here. So it of course gives this it gave us this push, because if you're looking at the support and the resistance strategy, if we have price bounce back or bounce off more than 3 times, either on a support or on a resistance, it means a breakout is definitely going to happen, and we saw that happen actually here. It has touched it once, it touched it twice, it touched it a third time, and of course we saw these breakouts happen at this point. But unfortunately, or fortunately, which of course we are going to be dissecting today, it wasn't able to get through this untested resistance, and we saw this backdrop. But what can you see that is currently happening? What can you see that is currently happening here? We can see that dollar seems to be gaining its strength back. Mind you, it has broken this particular weak resistance. So for those who are technically exposed when it comes to, when I mean exposed, like exposure, you have an understanding of trading the market technically. The next thing anybody will tell you, or any trader who is experienced when it comes to technical analysis will tell you, is wait for a confirmation before we can now say, okay, yes, this buy is going to pull through. So what is that confirmation? I have my current candle on bullish, right? But you can see that it started below my weak resistance. So I'm going to just wait for a confirmation. If I have this particular, if I have the next candle, this is a daily time frame. So meaning this particular candle will have to work all through for today. And if I have the next candle opening above this weak resistance, then who knows, we might just have a free upward movement in the dollar index. So we can say, yes, dollar has a little bit of strength, irrespective of, you know, the issue of inflation, the issue of recession. And I think we understand when we talk about the US zones facing inflation and recession, I think we understand the story behind, you know, that. I'm sure people that had my colleagues, other analysts that must have taken the classes prior to today must have, you know, shed light in it. So taking us back to the 1 hour time frame. Ooh la la. So you can see that on the 1 hour time frame, it's actually on a spree. Somebody will say, how do you now, how do I know, how do I check it? So I'm going to quickly do a refresh on this. I tag this, I go to my 1 hour. This is where it is. So this is my daily time frame. This is where I have put, I had, you know, looked out for where my current candle is. I think a little bit down here. And then I move to my 1 hour to see where exactly it's at. So this is where that means we're actually on track. So we see a strength in the dollar this morning. Now we have established that this morning, in fact, we can see this strength since yesterday, after it was not able to break below this untested support. It moved. This moving average here happens to be a 21 moving average. It's moved up. Who used to serve as a resistance? This moving average used to serve as a resistance as at, you can see now from this other previous charts. But immediately market was able to break above it, automatically this moving average is now serving as my support. Is now serving as my support, and we can see also a free push-up in the US zone. So now that we've established this, I will go over to analyze it with respect to the instruments that are being paired with dollar, either as the base or as the quote. And my first instrument this morning will be the Euro USD. Of course, we know that even the person, please, once you come in, do well to mute yourself so that you don't distract others if you feel you want to be distracted. Thank you very much. So we all know that the dollar and the Eurozone, well, for people who, for babies in the financial market, people who are just starting, you can say they always like to do the opposite of each other so that even the layman can actually understand it. They like to do opposite of each other. And you know, for the Euro USD, the euro is serving as the base currency, while the dollar is serving as the quote currency. So what gives, once we see a strength in the dollar, it means the base currency will sell or the base currency will fall. And that is what has been replicating itself even from yesterday. From the dollar index chart I showed, you can see that as at yesterday, that was when we saw that dollar had actually bounced off a support moving upward. And the same thing happened, but the opposite of the exact thing happened in the Eurozone. We saw Euro USD bounce down a resistance, and we can see this free fall. We can see that the moving average, who used to be a support, automatically became a resistance, just almost, at the same time we had that same thing occur in the dollar index. So if you want to trade Euro USD, my advice to you today is understand what your dollar index is doing, because it gives you an idea of what to trade on the Euro USD. So for today, I'm going to go for a free fall. But come on, what is happening? Why is it falling? I think I've been able to give snippets of it, but let me just explain in detail. Number one, CPI came out last week, and we saw that there was not an increase, there was a somebody will say an increase in decrease, or a reduction in increase, something like that. So it wasn't reduced. And when we talk about increase, that's, to me, that wasn't an increase. So because there was a time when we talk about CPI, it was an increase to about 95 basis points, 75 basis points. You get, and there are talks for even more increase. US has come to say that there is no recession. Now, let us also not forget that when you talk about the US, you're also talking about everything that happens in the US zone. 2 days ago, I also saw it yesterday, we saw the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, having a speech. In fact, it was a breaking news with the President of China, what's his name again? And they were talking about how they could come together in order to, for trade, bilateral trade, and the rest of it. So what does that tell you? That even when people feel Russia and China are actually close, Russia and China, they're actually working together to dethrone, I'm just trying to use words we can understand. Russia and China actually working together to dethrone the US. Russia and China are actually having. So my point is, where do China stand in all of this? So if I had read in investing.com that the US economy actually thrives in recession, actually thrives when things are not going on well, we can say that is actually a fact. Because in the midst of this, I, for one, that is just my own belief, expect that the US will not have anything to do with China, knowing that China right now is more or less the big brother or the twin brother to Russia. I don't know if we're actually understanding that. So people are saying, what is happening? If Russia, that everybody thinks, is trying to, take over the world, do this, do that, nuclear weapons and the rest of it. And of course, we know that China has, or Russia and China, they actually have a form of a relationship. I don't want to use the word agreement because you and I were not there, but we see that there's some sort of a relationship with them. Then how come the president of China will actually even agree to having it was a live broadcast program. I don't know if you saw it in any of your local channels. And we're talking about how they can make the relationship between the US and the China zone good, even more better. So of course, investors seeing that alone will make them know that, man, boy, oh boy, there's something happening that we are probably going to see in the nearest future. So everybody just hold your side very well. So what do people do? The ordinary man will automatically start putting money or start saving money in the US currency. So people would want to invest in the currency, which is what we see actually playing out. Also, I'm going to quickly throw us back to our Forex Factory. Remember, yesterday we had a couple of news coming out in the Eurozone. Okay, we had, okay, this was just the only one. But today, I think, today we had a couple of news coming out in the Eurozone. Voila. And the one for 8:15 is out. Can you see this came out, let's say a little bit good, but not so good compared to the next one that came. So we had French Flash Manufacturing PMI, and of course we have French Flash Services PMI coming out at the same time. And you can see that For the forecast was 45.4 and the actual was 45.5. However, for the French flash service PMI, the forecast was 52.2 and it came out a whooping low of 48.0. That is too bad. So it's like saying -1 + 1 or -1 + -1. So it means this one that would have said, okay, gave them strength, did not even give them strength. Because what is the difference between 45.4 and 45.5? That is just one. As against a forecast of 52.2, and you're seeing a low of 48.0. So can we now see why we have this free fall happening as we speak, even in the Eurozone, thereby giving strength to the dollar? So now we understand this. If we're going to go in for the Euro USD, I would say continue with this sell, and then see how you can take profits around this region. For those, okay, yes, for long-term traders, you can keep it, not also forgetting that markets will be closing today to open, of course, on Monday. 0.0. How do we calculate it in Nigeria? If we shall understand, don't mind my maths. Thank you very much. So I would put, of course, my entry around this. For those who are I'll start with scalpers now. You can scalp on your sell and, of course, take your profit. If you're scalping, doesn't mean you're sleeping in the market. If you're going there to sleep in the market, if you place a trade and you say, actually, new memory, I want to go and pee, is that time you know that your boyfriend is calling you. You want to do, you're not scalping, auntie. You're not scalping, brother. You know that you're entering the market, you're taking advantage of what you are doing, and you're closing immediately. You're not sleeping. For those who want to do intraday trading, of course, we'll come to that, and of course, swing trader. So if I'm to scalp, I'll quickly take my sell entry. Once it hits my take profits, I'm leaving. So there's nobody to give you any take profits. Now you will decide take profits where you want. So far I say you're scalping these markets. But if I'm to go in an intraday position, see that, of course, I'm sensing a little bit of retracement here. I'm going to actually wait on a sell stop at this point, of course, and of course, my take profits just around this zone. To be on a safe side, I'm going to take my entry just if price finally gets to this point, 1.08731. Of course, my take profit at 1.0856, but of course, within this region. On the contrary, or on the other hand, I could either now go on a buy limit. I'm sure we all understand what buy limits and sell limits are. So, oh, wow. Okay, for those who are scalping, congratulations. You must have been on good profit because you just broke my entry for intraday and my take profits for intraday traders. So if you're smart enough, even while you're in the class, you can actually be taking positions and making your profit. So congratulations ahead of that. Now, if I don't know what is going to happen, you can now go for a buy limit. Market is currently selling. So buy limit is like following the retracement, the little retracement, not reversal now. The little retracement it is doing up. You can see what it is doing. It got to my take profit and it is going up. So for those who want to use the sell limit, of course, it means you'll be trading this little retracement and you also make your money. Okay, but for today, for the better part of today, we're going to see, of course, a fall in the Euro zone. On that note, I'll be going quickly to the next instrument. So which instrument should we do next? Okay, let's do USD CAD before we go to gold, and then we enter into indices. So remember when I said, if you're able to understand what the dollar index is doing, then your analysis is more than 70% completed. If I know what my dollar index is doing, then I can actually understand what every other instrument is doing. And I also said, now that I have understood what the dollar index is doing, there is a base and there is a quote currency for other currency pairs, right? And if I am looking at an instrument where the dollar is the base currency, it means we are looking for a fall, just like we saw in Euro USD. However, the opposite happens to be the case when it comes to instruments where the dollar is actually the base. So we have USD versus CAD. So we see that the dollar actually is the base, while the Canadian dollar is the quote. And what do we see here? A buy. So now you would ask me, oh, but we're not seeing a very, very strong buy as it is with maybe the Euro, USD, or the dollar index. Yes. But however, there is a buy. Now, let's not forget that we are now comparing the dollar with another instrument, with another currency, with another economy. Because you cannot use what is happening in the Eurozone to judge what is happening in Canada. Ashi. Just, you cannot use what is happening in Edo to judge what is happening in Kaduna. Okay, so it means we are going to, yes, we have. That is why I will still say it again. Start by understanding what your dollar index is saying, because your dollar index gives you an idea of whether the dollar is currently on a high, which is has strength, or on a low, which is it's currently weak. That's where you can now use it to probe looking at other currencies and the economy. So bringing us down to USD CAD, we can see yes that the dollar is actually strong, good and fine. And we can see this in the moves we have in our chart on the US CAD. However, what is happening in the CAD economy? What is happening with Canada? What is happening, what is the economy of Canada saying? So now we are going to go back to our Forex Factory to see if we had any information. Probably Forex Factory will give us insights to. And I think for this one, we're actually going to be looking also at our investing.com. So I'm just going to quickly scroll from Monday. Do I have any news card? This was a week impact. Tuesday, blah, 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 blah. Wednesday, we have card. Also, okay, this was actually a medium impact news, and we can see that even if it was a medium impact news, it came out positive for CAD. So that is a little bit of strength. What did they tell you here? Medium impact expected. And what do you see here? There was a forecast of 0.5%, but it came out, wow, 1.3%. There was a forecast of 0.4%. Oh my, this came out 1.1%. So it gave it a little bit of strength. I'm not going to even deny that. There was a little bit of strength. And of course, we had US dollar. Yesterday being Thursday. Did we have anything on CAD? No. So you can see if I'm to, can we see my chart? Let me go back to my chart. So we can see that on Wednesday, when there was a little bit of strength in the Canadian zone, if I'm to use that word, what did you see happening here? There was a fall. I don't know if I'm communicating. Between Wednesday, that news came out on Wednesday. Between Wednesday and Thursday, we can see that dollar did not show its head, according to religious people, its ugly head. You can see that because Canada at that point they didn't have so much of a strength. Number one, the news that came out was a medium impact news. So medium impact was expected. If it was supposedly a high impact news, who knows? Okay.
But it was moderator, good morning. Can I talk something, please? Good morning.
Please drop your questions. Don't interrupt the class like that. You are not the only one in class. If you have any question, please do well to drop it in the chat. Thank you. And then following up on, please, going forward, when someone is talking, you can either raise your hand, and that's why we have the chat box to drop in your questions. You don't intercut or interject into people like that. Thank you very much. And this brings us to, what happened yesterday. On Wednesday, we saw that fall, of course, which we see Canada. The US CAD in your chart has actually been on a free fall until we had, of course, this strength building up in the dollar zone, which our dollar index has actually confirmed for us. So for me today, just also to be double sure, I'm going to quickly run through my investing.com. Don't worry, I'll be sharing my screen shortly so that we can see what we have on investing.com. And then we'll see how we can take advantage of that. Please do well to mute yourself so that you don't disturb the class. Thank you very much. So I'm still, my investing.com is still loading. Sorry about that. So while it's still doing that, let's quickly continue. So on this note, of course, we'll see what we have for Canada today, and we'll see what probably happened yesterday. But on this note, I'm going to go in, of course, freely on a buy stop and a sell stop. I'm going to go for a buy just before my turn code resistance. I would appreciate if everyone mutes their mic. Please, it is unfair. It shows you are not courteous. It shows you don't respect other people in class. Please, once you come on board, do well to mute your mic so that if you want to be distracted by yourself, that's fine and good. But don't bring your distraction to other persons. There are people who really want to learn this. Please and please and please. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me see if my investing is downloading. Yes, so I can now share that so that we can see what we have on investing.com today. So I'm sure you guys can see what we have. My investing.com chart here. So this is USD card. That's the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. I'm going to just click on news to see what we have on our news for today, and then we'll read out. It's still loading. Okay, so while that is still loading, I'll quickly go back to my charts and then, of course, give us our entry. So I'm going to enter just within this price because, of course, I'm still envisaging a buy for today. Within price 1.32040, 1.32040, and of course my take profit just before this turn code resistance. So I'm not going to have my take profit above. I'm going to have my take profit just at this turn code resistance, and this turn code resistance before it or on it happens to be around the 1.3219 zone. 1.32197 zone, okay? 1.32197 zone. On an alternative, for those who, to be on a safe side, what do you think, analysts? Well, you can either now trade on the retracement if, peradventure, we don't have a free or a complete push up on the USD card this morning. You can now go for a sell limit, or you can now enter on a sell stop at this current at this point where you have price 1.31888 around that zone, and of course your take profit just before this turn code support. Okay, so we're not doing anything above the turn code resistance and the turn code support. This is because we need to be also need to be careful, seeing that markets will also be closing for today. Okay, so you don't want to get caught in the fix. So for your buy, you can pick your points at anywhere just above this current candle, and of course aim your take profit before the turn code resistance, while your sell should be around this 1.31888 zone, and of course your take profit before the turn code support. Having said that, I'm going to quickly rush up through gold. I'm going to quickly rush up through gold. Please, if you have any question, do well to drop. I'm sure we've been people have been actually responding and the rest of it. So we're going to move quickly on gold. And one thing I love about gold is it is a less stress instrument. Yeah. If there's any instrument that don't like stress, is gold. People should allow, what is that new one again? Social media people. What's that new one again? People should allow the poor breathe. Abi, if we shall allow gold, that is who or that is what gold is. Gold is on is, I am a safe haven. Anything my brother is doing, Abi, anything my step brother, for those who have watched Battle on Booker Street, anything my step brother is doing, I'm not going to do it. Oh, it is the opposite I must do. Gan. If dollar say it is buying, bye-bye, don't stress me. Me, I'll just steadily selling because I don't like you. After all, we are from the same father. I'm just trying to play it with, for those who have actually watched Battle of Booker Street, the movie by Jennifer Akindele. Funke, I say Jennifer. Funke Akindele. So don't give me the stress, I'm always I want to shine on my own. So we see gold do the opposite of what the dollar is doing virtually all the time. So almost all the time, except on really rare occasions where you have them do the same thing. Okay, but most of the time, when you see dollar buying, you see gold selling. When you see gold buying, you see dollar selling, which is exactly what we have currently here. You can see that the dollar, for some time, gold has actually been, let me take you to the 1 hour time frame. You can see the daily time frame. You can see that gold has actually been on an uptrend, just the way dollar had actually been on a downtrend. Okay, gold has actually been on an uptrend, enjoying the savor, enjoying the ride. But we see currently now that, this enjoyment that I'm enjoying, this my brother that I used to hear what, he shall want to take this enjoyment out of my mouth. You can see the struggle happening here. But because dollar has actually been gaining strength, gold, irrespective of how strong it has been, it might not fall, go all the way down, but we can see that gradually it's beginning to let go of that strength it has been having, because of course we see dollar bouncing back up, like exactly what I had explained at the start of this class. And we see that gold has actually even gone ahead, broke this week's support, not to even forget that there was a time where dollar broke this proven support. This proven support happened to be, let me see, on a monthly time frame. It happened, the last time it happened was in 2020. First time we saw this verified support was in 2020. We saw it again in 2022, and we saw it again in 2023. Gold got to this highest high. In fact, it got to this highest high at 79.03, which no instruments, gold has never done, in a long time. But what did we see after that? A fall. This is actually on a monthly. This is my monthly chart. We saw a fall happening. We are seeing a fall happening, and currently we see this 21 moving average serving as a support. So what do you think? If even if you don't have an idea of what the market is and somebody just shows you this chart, what do you think? Somebody might say, I think this thing will still drop to this point too, because this one is as if this one is the one that wants to hold it. But remember, this is on a monthly time frame, so we need to have, first of all, see a sell in our 1 minute, in our 5 minutes, in our 15 minutes, in our 30 minutes, in our 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, before we see, you see it turn up on the monthly charts. And of course, rushing down to our 1 hour time frame, you can see this free fall. So for me today, I'm going to still continue on this fall. Our 21 moving average is now actually serving as a resistance. This was somebody that used to be a support, but gradually we can see the struggle. We can see the struggle. We can see the struggle, and it's currently serving as a resistance. So what I'm going to be trading on is on limits. Sell limits and buy limits for gold. Sell limits and buy limits for gold. Okay, so because we see currently this push up, I'm going to be looking at gold on a sell limit. So if I have my sell limits around this area, give me a second. around this area, just below the moving average at price 1916.20. Of course, I can follow it down. Let me see if we have, of course, we have a weak support. So I think I'm on track. So you have your sell limit at 1916.24. And of course, choose your take profit where it's convenient to you. But I smell, even though we have this weak support here, you can see that, how do I pick my, you can see that I'm trying to insert this. You can see that this place is actually serving as a support that we have not seen. The support is marked at this line at price 1907.35. However, you can see that there was a struggle for those who are candlestick gurus. What do they call this particular pattern? Bullish, bearing, engulfing, bearish, bullish. I think there's a name they call it. So we can see that there was a struggle here. So I am seeing a support, although we have our weak support boldly written here, but I'm seeing this region also as a weak support. So while I'm going to go for a sell limit, I'm going to have my take profit around this place I had, circled in blue, which is at 1910.42. But for those who are scalpers, you can see that you can actually, we could have actually scalped, to the turn code resistance, because while we're talking, market has not gotten to this point. Okay. So for those who are actually scalpers, they would have taken advantage of this move. Maybe continue it till it gets to this turn code support. But of course, we're going to see, a retracement once it gets to this turn code resistance. We see a retracement, and then we see we can now go on our sell limits and then continue on this. I think that for gold, it's okay for me because we have this weak resistance here. I think sell limit for today, I'm just going to go for sell limits and on gold for today. And for those who want to scalp, now you can actually scalp on the buy. Snippets of buy that will be happening because we'll see a ranging market between the turn code resistance and the weak support. So you can actually do your scalping, snippets of scalps between your buy and your sell. But majorly for today, we'll be going in for limits. So for today, I'll still hold on to my sell limits. Then if you see any opportunity around the sell region where you can also go for a buy limit, that means if your candle is selling, if the coin candle is selling and is retracing, that is where you now go for your buy limit. Okay, having understood that, I'm going to jump right straight away. I'm sure most of us, our ears have been itching and see talk too much now. Talk fast and go to US 100, talk fast and go to US 2000, talk fast and, oh yeah, no, I am now there. So let us see what this particular instrument has for us today. I know so many persons like to trade the indices. I they give you money. One woman was telling me yesterday, I just placed it and I made, and I made, how much did she even say she made? I said, hey, congratulations. So thank you. But as I was doing it, my heart was doing bish, because I know now that if this market just go against me, my small money will finish. And we both started laughing because of the way she was talking. I said, okay, but if you know all of these things, why did you still do it? I beg you, just leave me out. That is the one my mind wants to do. That is the one I like. I said, oh, Barry, sorry, both the one you like, both the instrument, both the capital. Thank you very much for letting me down. We just gisted it over, and but of course, I gave her my financial advice on it. Also, I got a WhatsApp message and somebody was saying, I have 2,500 in my trading account. Okay, wow. That's strange to me to hear. And I want to trade US 100 and it's not trading. At this point, I was confused. Ask me why. I'm sure most of you will be laughing. I'm sure most of you will be saying this person, as if this person doesn't know what he or she is doing. Actually, it was a guy. So when he sent me that message on WhatsApp, I didn't know if I should be angry or I should laugh, because this person is always in class. In fact, he is in class. I have seen his name. He is in class. So what exactly is the issue? And he kept calling me till about 7 p.m. I need to trade. And I'm, oh yeah, go and trade now. You have 2,500 in your account. You want to trade US 100. Oh yeah, go and trade. Nobody's stopping you. And he had to realize that right now, it's not even my account manager or this financial analyst or this wicked girl that don't want to help me. It's actually me that is doing myself. And he came back and started apologizing. Why did I give this? I know so many, in fact, not even so many, all of us here, we love trading US 100. We love trading the indices because, of course, they give us more money. They are, good. They have more volatility. But guy, ma, sir, daddy, mommy, brother, sister, uncle, auntie, engineer, pilot, pastor, deacon, let us try and remove greed. Let us try and be logical when we trade. Let us try and impute discipline. If you're able to do all of these things, you'll find out that you will be consistent. You will be consistent in your trading venture. You will be consistent in your trading venture. If you're able to remove greed, you might not want to call it greed, though, but you see that little thing. Maybe you've spoken to your account manager, and your account manager is telling you, no, sir, just hold on, sir. And maybe at that time, your account manager is telling you, just hold on. You're seeing the market. This guy, shall we any? So you'll be wondering, why is this person telling me to stop when I can actually enter this market? And then you go ahead and you enter, bam, and that's it, you're calling, hey, account manager, as you were saying, I just say, let me just try it. And the thing now hook me. And so what can you do? In fact, I want you to make this thing to stop. Me, Shao, I am not an angel. I'm as human as you are. So while we are trading, in the midst of making money, in the midst of, oh, I want to, please, and please, we all need discipline. I'm not talking to you guys though, because me, I'm perfect though. People that know me, they know that this market, it don't show me way. Why? Because I refuse to listen, to stop when I was supposed. And the truth of the matter is, you actually know when you're supposed to stop. But there's just one little voice that will tell you, don't worry, just do the last one. Just do this last one. Just do this last one. Everywhere is quiet now. Nobody's chatting because I'm talking to you. This is something you face on a daily. If not, I would have been seeing chat now. Nobody is chatting because we know that this is the reality we face day in, day out. So, sweethearts, I understand, but you need to pump in discipline. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I am disciplined. I can tell myself when to stop. I can tell myself when not to stop. Let me go and reach out. People are still chatting. What are you people dropping? Oh my God. So really, I just felt, I don't know why I switched, but guys, with the way Nigeria is going, we actually need this extra source of income. But to sustain this extra source of income, you and I need discipline. We can't take it out. We can't. So on that note, let's dive in. US 100. I am tempted to say this is my best instrument, but I don't want to say it because I know there are so many persons that look up to me when it comes to this market. So I'm just going to say, it's one of those instruments. And US 100, in fact, the US indices happens also to be an instrument that do the opposite of what the US currency is doing. So when you see the strength on US currencies, you always see US 100 tilting, in the opposite direction. One of my G, when it comes to these markets, he will always say, I'm sure most of you would have known him, tech is yet to start. Bros, tech is yet to start. In fact, it's as if the tech self has started starting small because the use of AI, the craziness about AI this period, in fact, I don't even know. So that is why we see a little bit, in fact, we see this trend that US 100 has been basking on. Boy, oh boy, can you see this freaking chart? Can you see all the way up? America is producing AIs. The Eurozone is producing AIs. China is producing AIs. The concept of nuclear living. In fact, there's a particular AI that is it America or France? Either the Eurozone or America created. Let's say if a part of your body is paining you, if you have that particular AI imputed on your body, inserted like inside your body, it will boost that place. So let's say for somebody who cannot walk, if that person has that AI in the person's body, the person will be able to walk with that leg. People, they do things. So people, they do things. In fact, I don't even know again for this kind of life. So to tell you how, the concept of tech has gone just even above data entry, back end, front end. People are now doing things that, so if I have a lady who is suffering from breast cancer and she's able to have that AI inserted, automatically it enhances the system. How it does it, I don't know. But you find out that I can actually do the things I can't do when I was suffering from when the person was suffering from breast cancer. And you know that anything tech is more in the US 100 calendar. So you have more tech companies. That's why you see Apple, Facebook, what's this Elon Musk company? What's this Elon Musk company? There's Twitter, there's the other one, but you have more of, tech companies in the US 100 stock. Okay, so on that note, we can see why we have this high rise. This is my monthly chart. We have this high rise, on the stock market. However, we saw a little bit of, this is like the highest. Yes, this is like the highest it has gone in a long while. And of course, there's only expectation that it falls, because at this point, looking at it technically now, we'll say the US stocks has actually been overbought. Okay, we can actually say that the US stocks has actually been overbought. So that was why we saw this fall. But come on, look at the fall on the monthly time frame. It's not even as much as the buy. It's not even as much as, the push up that stock had. And we can see that it fell, got to this week's support, and is bouncing back up. So I'm just saying my own, that we might even see it get to this untested resistance again. But let's keep watching. You never can tell. So on that note, having understood it on the monthly time frame, we're going to rush down to our 1 hour time frame, and then we see what is going to happen. Remember, I had said in the long time we might see stock getting to that tested resistance on the monthly time frame where it hits, in a long time, over almost a decade now. But looking at it on the 1 hour time frame, because that is where our focus will be on for most of us who are intraday traders. I had also said that stocks or the US indices does slightly opposite of what the US currency does. So if we have dollar index basking in strength, we'll see that the US 100 will pipe low a bit, because investors are pushing funds into the currency, while we'll have, people removing funds from, indices, markets, and pumping it into the dollar index, that's the US currency. And of course, I think I explained that for those who joined from the very beginning, why that is happening. Of course, the new relationship that China and US is beginning to have, the increase in CPI, which of course, I think Fed chair said that they were going to be increasing it, not even that subsequently CPI went, so that means when next we'll be having CPI, we should envisage that there will be a hike in interest rate. So all of that, you know, pushed people into pumping in money, that's investors pumping in money into the US currency. On that note, it now brought a little bit of a hula bally or a shakiness in the US stocks. Okay, so that was just basically what happened. And we can see that started actually happening from yesterday. So we saw stock rise to this weak resistance, and we saw this fall that started from yesterday. If you check your Euro USD, the same thing happened from yesterday. If you check your dollar index, the same thing happened from yesterday. And I also remember, I think when I was analyzing for either Euro USD or US card, I talked about allowing your candle to close and then a confirmation candle. We can see currently now that the current candle is just slightly above our moving average. That's this 21 moving average. And we can see it's opening in for a, let me open my chart, for a sell. Okay, so for those who are scalping, you can enter the market, of course, and scalp with it down. For those who want to trade cautiously, don't worry, I'll be giving us entries we're going to use for that, and that's for intraday traders. But if we have a confirmation candle, that is, if this current candle, that's this 9 o'clock, this is a 1 hour candle, if this 9 o'clock candle closes and we have the 10 o'clock candle open as a sell, then we might see, you know, a reasonable bit of sell on the for US 100 today. So for those who are scalping, fine and good, you can go ahead and scalp, take your profits as you do that. But for those who will be pending their orders, of course, we are going to go for a sell. Just so I'm not too late to the market, I will do this at price 15126.56, and of course your take profit anywhere that is comfortable for you, but don't go and be targeting this untested support, because I don't think price will get to this untested support today, but we can target around this point to be on the safe side. Yes, 15085.13. Remember, we have high impact news coming out today. We have from the Eurozone, we have from the US zone. So these things, once high impact news come out, you know they have every tendency, and they are high. So they have every tendency to alter any of this. I hope you guys understand. So that's why I don't want anybody to go and get stuck. So if you're looking at this untested, please remove your eye from this untested. Let's do it at this point before we have other high impact news bets out, and then we'll see the results. So if the result shows, okay, we can continue on this, please feel free to enjoy the market and shall buy me one bottle, not one bottle of Hops and Baileys, or one bottle of, you can buy me one bottle of one bottle of red wine to cool my body, and hot catfish pepper soup with unripe plantain. Because this weather, somebody was asking, is June a month or is a refrigerator? We have been cold though, so if you just one bottle of red wine with hot catfish pepper soup, you use boiled plantain, unripe one to just design it around it. My God will bless you. I don't want to be hungry, but I'm fasting, so nobody should make me talk about food this morning. So on that note, yes, we have this on this, but you know, if the news coming out in the US, so remember we have a high impact news coming out in the US, so if it comes out negative and we see a little bit of it affecting the dollar index, then we might see stocks still push up. So, but that is not for me. I'm not going, because the news is not coming out this morning. I think it's around afternoon period. So I'm not going to say let's cap for that. That one is a pure pending order. So we'll do that at price 15169.29, and of course your take profits, but before the weak resistance. We're going to rush through US 2000, and then we call it a day for today, so that those that want to start their TGIF, they can actually start it. Just give me your location, okay? And you see me there, okay? So having understood what happens in the US zone, we can see the same thing playing out in US 2000. Okay, we can still see the same fall playing out in US 2000. So, but for US 2000, please, because the US high impact is coming out today, it's not this morning, it's in the afternoon time. Yes, I think I remember, but I can't remember the exact time, but it's in the afternoon time. So there's nothing to say, oh, let me scalp. Well, if you want to do that, fine, but I don't know how that news is going to play out yet. So I'm going to be sticking to pending orders for today. So for the for our US 2000, I'm going to go on a sell at price 1850.40, and of course my take profit at this particular candle, the week of this particular candle that happened just the previous hour at 1846.7. On an alternative scenario, I'll go in for a buy at price 1855.5, and of course my take profits just at price 1858.7 before this untested resistance. We know we have our turn code support, turn code resistance. Yes, turn code resistance, but our moving average here is also serving as a resistance. So take profit before this moving average that's serving as a resistance. So on that note, we call it a day for today. We call it a day for the week. We'll call it a day for, not for June. June never end. June will end next week. But of course, for this week, remember, like your president said, the first day we hit the ground running. The second day we hit the ground running. The third day we hit the ground running, and we are still hitting the ground running. So please, this is my advice. If your president can tell you to hit the ground running, who am I? Who am I not to tell you? Please, so hit the ground running, hit the ground running. Then hit the ground running. Keep hitting the ground running. I appreciate you. Thank you for being in the class. I hope you enjoyed it. This class continues next week. For those who today happens to be your first time, we have something, we do this kind of a thing, analysis, give you entry every day, Monday through Fridays. We also have the evening classes that start from Tuesday to Thursday by 6 p.m. Just reach out to your account managers and they will send you the link for that. We'll also have another class that runs every Monday and Tuesday by 10 a.m. If you also want to be a part of it, please reach out to your account managers for the link. We now have our YouTube live. So as you're watching me from Zoom, I had other persons watching me from YouTube, which is why, I was a little bit unhappy when I had people, interjecting and making noises. But thank you very much for understanding, and thank you very much for making this class a wonderful one. See you next week. Don't do anything that will make me frown. Don't do anything that will make your mommy and your daddy frown. Don't do anything that will make your kids frown. Be safe out there, and it's love from me, from Rally Trade. Have a lovely day. Goodbye, and stay safe. Hey.